I feel like you could very well understand that she was not saying she did not need Russell, but that's what she said. And I think we need to relearn meanings of word, because when she said independent, I don't think that's the way she was saying it. I don't think she was saying independent as I don't need a man, period.
Okay, here's the issue. We acting like we don't know what this is. He pitched the song to her because he knew the industry was going to like that song. He knew he was going to get paid for that song. Now, the question is, why does the industry like that song? The industry likes that song because it contributes to destroying your culture. It contributes to destroying Black culture, Black communities, and Black families.
This video is only being used for educational purposes solely. What's good, GATV family? It's your boy Gravitating Away, back at it again. Now we're about to check out a video of a host of panel. This is on the Lapeef network. I don't know if y'all know this, but I've been subscribed to this for some time, and it's be some good stuff on here, great conversations, and I just wanted to share some of this stuff with y'all. Every now and then I'm gonna be dropping a few of these because I like seeing a mixture of men and women in our community that's discussing topics. Sometimes can be one-sided when it's being projected from the women or being projected from the men. But as a man, I make no apologies about really letting my brothers, especially young brothers, see the point of view from some Black women, and particularly Black women who are of a certain echelon, who you would think organically that they would have common sense, a consciousness. But I just wanted to show you how they can subscribe to the BS that's out there too. So without a further ado, I'm dropping the video. Check it out.
I want to say something. So I have like a few little points. I agree with everything that has been said. I agree about interdependence, independence. I agree with all those things. I will say that I think, so I'm just going to give context. My degree is in music business.
I'm a PhD.
Okay, congratulations.
Okay, now I stopped it here real quick. Just anytime a Black woman, and no disrespect, ladies, but anytime a Black woman is engaging in a very important conversation like this, where accountability should be uphold, whatever, understand when she throws this whole degree, college, understand what's about to come out of her mouth. Now I'm gonna let her finish the rest.
So specifically this topic is a little different in my mind to me but I understand how we're talking about it. For instance, the person that wrote that song is somebody that I know. He's actually from the DMV. His name's Derek Milano. He wrote that song for her, pitched it to her, and they gave her that song. So something interesting to me is how a business shows up to the world as this thing that Ciara said, and she did not write the song. However, I do feel also you are in this position. Why were you chosen? You know that you're married. Why'd you accept the song? Whatever you want to say. However, I'm always iffy about how we perceive things, but what we know about things. Like in that context of that video, I feel like you could very well understand that she was not saying she did not need Russell, but that's what she said. And I think we need to relearn meanings of words.
Okay, Lord, help me with this one. Please make it make sense. If you was listening to the young lady after she threw out her credentials, with a business major in music, whatever, she basically says that, and if you guys don't know, this was about, Ciara a little while back releasing a song proclaiming her independence, therefore really showcasing what her marriage is about. She's out here trying to promote independent women, yet she's married, but the aim is going out there, basically being in the streets. You can argue with me on this till the cows come home. You know what it is. We all know what it is. But the young lady is basically saying, you know, it's not Ciara that went about it on her own. The young lady particularly knows the man who wrote the song for her. And then while she acknowledges, end of the day, Ciara chose to participate in the song, i.e. sing the song, she dismissed that part. See, that was the part where I was hoping she held Ciara accountable for what she projects into our community, what she promotes. Instead, she put the onus on the songwriter. Hello, ma'am. It's the music business. The majority of these people, these artists, don't write their own lyrics, but they will be held accountable about what's coming out of their mouths, the money that's being put back in their pocket, because they are willing participants. Understand how she dismissed that part of it. I hope we still here together. Y'all alive? Y'all still here? My brothers, y'all paying attention? All right, let's get back.
Need a man, period. I think that's what was written, and that's what she said, because it's targeted for business tactics in terms of what is being pushed in the industry. But I'm not
concerned. You think anybody who made that song even
is a man? It's a man that made that song. I personally know the songwriter, so I'm just saying, and I'm not saying, you know, however you guys could then try to talk it, because this person wrote a few other songs like Meg Thee Stallion, all that stuff, Grammy this year, everything. This is a Grammy nominated writer. This is somebody, you know, I went to Full Sail. So that's all we, you know, look into is what is trending right now. How are you making the dollar bill? How are you being effective to your label? How are you keeping it pushing? Okay, you've been signed for your contract, all these other things. Like, all I'm saying is I don't think that everything is exactly what it seems. And I think sometimes we can decipher that. But it is important to have these conversations, because then you do relearn things like, okay, we're saying the word independent and it's not independent, because independent means no help at all and no, you know, this, that, and the third. So I just put that out there because that is my degree, is music business.
I'm a PhD.
Okay, congratulations.
Shout out to the OG Kevin Samuels. There it goes again, my degree. And again, I got my degree too. I'm not knocking anyone with a degree, but anytime you have to substantiate your argument with I have a degree where it's not needed, where there's common sense at play, you know, I just find it somewhat abysmal that you even have to substantiate your argument starting off with, hey, you know, before I try to comment on common sense, let me show you my degree. But anyways, once again, there's no accountability. If you're watching the panel, it's not just the men, but even some of the sisters on here are seemingly puzzled by the circle talking going on here. I mean, this woman, what is she talking about? You know, you're basically caping for Ciara and not holding her accountable for thought culture. Once again, if my homeboy puts a gun in my hands, but I choose to fire that weapon, it doesn't matter in terms of morality that he had a willing part in it. I was the culprit who pulled that trigger. And before you run off with my analogy as making no sense, that's essentially what the young lady is equating Ciara promoting and singing a song that only can be detrimental to the image of black women. And she's basically saying she has no accountability to it. This is what it looks like if you think none of this matter. This is why I'm really digging the Lapeef network. The panel of brothers and sisters really shows us what's going on with our mindsets and how truly divided we are on topics like these, that you would think we would all be on the same strides, but it's not, man. It's not. This is really sad, you know. But let's continue back.
Everything that has been said and circulated around it is exactly those things. I do think a lot of those things were business and marketing tactics, and that was it. I'm not saying it's right though. I'm not saying it's right.
Yeah, she did say in the video that she don't need it.
I don't need
She did say in the video that she don't need it.
I want you. I think the song says, I don't need you, I want you. And why is she marketing this independent woman and she's married.
Yeah, I agree. Why would this song even be, you know what I'm saying? Like, why would you pitch the song to someone that, you know what I'm saying? Like,
I think the songs get pitched around the industry is what I've been hearing, and they hear these sample songs and they choose the songs that they actually want to take on. So the question isn't why did they pitch it to her, because the song probably got pitched to multiple women. The question
absolutely, it did. So it is.
So why did she choose that song, knowing that her brand? I just feel like her brand doesn't marry up with where she is now in life. And instead of her changing her brand like she could have done, she decided to stay on this single lady's path, even though she's obviously married, and it's not marrying it up, it's making her look like a hypocrite.
You know, it's always beautiful when the ladies hold one another accountable. I just have to say that. I mean, the two ladies over here on both bottom corners, Carol Boss 59 on the bottom left and Fantasy Island Girl on the bottom right. You know, Carol Boss basically said to combat, you know, Mary Janie Walker, whatever her name is, you know, it's not like Ciara didn't know what she was doing. I mean, she specifically says in the song, in which I have heard, she basically is saying, I don't need you, I want you. And before I go to Fantasy Island Girl's rebuttal, Carol Boss kind of hit something on the mark, whether she knows it or not. In our culture and community, it's almost like we don't promote the thought of needing one another. I hear this all the time. I don't need you, I want you. And I don't know what shift happened, when, where. It could be with the whole feminist movement, where black women actually thought they fit in with them white girls, promoting their independence, not yours. But it's like it's so bad for Ciara to say she needs her man to show a form of submissiveness and just vulnerability, that, you know, I'm comfortable with this. I want to show the world that I needed you in my life. You know, the way she played the okie doke with us, saying how this changed her life. And it was this whole thing, Russell versus Future, showing that Ciara leveled up. I can't stand that song because you black women projected that through us all, particularly our black men, trying to divide us, showing one stereotype versus the other, which I can agree to a certain point. But it's like for Ciara to say, I don't need you, I want you, it's like she's running the show. Now, if Russell want to simp for that, that's him. Now let's get the Fantasy Girl's comment and rebuttal. She's basically saying, once again, Mary Janie Walker is withholding accountability from Ciara. Fantasy Girl kept Ciara on that fire, basically stating she knew what she was doing. She chose to participate in that destruction when it comes to the influence a song like that does. And then she lamented on Ciara having a particular brand, especially when she was in union with Russell. Now that should have, you know, be the trademark of your maturity. Shifting gears from being with the liking of a Future, being in the liking where you was promoted as this, you know, hot girl, summer girl in the hip hop community. Now you're a grown woman, multiple children, married. There's nothing wrong with crossing over into another path. But Fantasy Girl's point, to her point, she's saying Ciara wanted to remain in the image that she first started in hip hop, which is a point I wanted to touch on. A lot of women, even when they're in their 40s, 50s, they still want to be connected to our particular segment in our community, which is the young girls, that they have no business in doing. And for any woman that want to combat me or debate me on this, you should be in the position at 40, 50 years old of leadership, of leading these women in the right direction. But instead, there's a lot of, you know, double backing and joining in on the hot girl summer that is really dominated, that we think, by the young women, and it's envied by the older women who still wants to participate with that mess. So shout out to both them girls, Carol Boss 59 and Fantasy Island Girl. Now I don't know what they do in their real lives outside of the two, but I can honestly always salute a comment that holds one another accountable. What say y'all? Let's get back to the video.
Y'all acting like
that an artist does not have control of, and they put themselves in that position. Don't get me wrong, But you have to understand, it's like Chris Brown dropping an album with 36 songs to finish his contract so he don't have to be under control people no more. Like, it's a lot of things that it's like we can question on the outside something that you're doing when we don't know that on the back burner your entire label is saying like, hey, ever since and I'm not saying it's right, but it's very well, ever since you've been married, you've been slacking, you're not sexy no more, you're not da-da-da. Let's hype it up. Let's put you on this way. This is what we need you to do. We need your numbers going up. Like, all I'm saying is, like, when you're talking from a music business aspect of a song, you have to calculate everything that's going into it and the decisions that artists don't make, because it's rarely an artist's decision. Now, you decided to sign a contract and you put yourself in that position wholeheartedly, yes. But she was a singer before she was with Russell, and Russell also knows that there's sacrifices she has to make, there's deals she has to go to, there's meetings she has to go to, there's interviews she has to do, there's things that they want her to do to fulfill that until she decides, hey, no matter what, Lady Gaga is an artist that did that. Lady Gaga is an artist that said, I no longer am about to wear meat on my body. I'm not about to be sitting here doing these type of videos. I just don't want to do it, and got the fuck out of that shit. And that was an agreement between her and her manager, who is a great manager, but it's like, it's very rare that people can even escape that type of situation. We're not in there to know, but I'm just saying, like, in those certain circumstances, not everything is just, well, Ciara, if you have a man and you're married, why did you choose to do that song? Because a lot of these people slaves to where it's like, I have to fulfill you more than whatever.
Okay, here's the issue. We acting like we don't know what this is. He pitched the song to her because he knew the industry was going to like that song. He knew he was going to get paid for that song. Now, the question is, why does the industry like that song? The industry likes that song because it contributes to destroying your culture. It contributes to destroying Black culture, Black communities, and Black families. That's the reason. That's the reason. And the fact that you have artists who continue to do this crap, knowing the effect it has, is ridiculous.
Yeah. And honestly, Ciara, she just wants to stay relevant. So she picked the most trending thing popping because she didn't have to say yes. Even though these people are celebrities, but they all regular people just like we are. Ain't nothing different except they dollar amount. But she's deciding to do things that she doesn't have to do. If she married Russell and Russell has all of this wealth that, we're seeing, cool, then rock with that. You don't have to sign something to stay relevant and wear a ridiculous ass outfit for everybody to see, and you
don't know that though in terms of contract. So it's the only thing I'm saying. Like,
but see, therein lies the problem, right?
Yeah.
The moment that she married Russell, like if she was a traditional woman, she'd be like, "Yo, I ain't gotta work no more. I'm good." But she's trying to maintain this image of, oh, I'm a strong, independent Black woman. It doesn't matter if I got a man. I'm still gonna do my thing, and I'm still gonna get out here and go on stage and shake my old biscuits, even though nobody want to see that.
Right.
I want to give a special shout out to the Angry Man. I mean, I love this brother over here. He basically pinpoint what most of us were thinking. And this young lady, Mary Janie Walker, I don't care what degrees you have, you are the typical narcissistic person that talks in circles when there's no accountability present. Now it's supposed to be a violin playing for Ciara. Poor Ciara, a slave of the industry. And then the young lady had the nerve to compare a Ciara versus a Lady Gaga. Lady Gaga, who isn't married, who isn't part of a community where there is lacking of a nuclear family, where there hasn't been a detriment in how we treat sex, high abortion rates, the mess that Ciara was pushing with that recent song. You would think a woman who's quick to tell us about her degree would have the intellectual capacity to properly state everything that's wrong with what Ciara did, but instead she went into victimhood. This is why I don't like that term. I don't like when we do it, people. Putting ourselves in the label as victims will never fix the problems we have. And the Angry Man pinpointed it right there on the ball. You think this industry goes to just any random old person with certain narratives and agendas and BS to promote out here? They know Ciara was gonna accept it. They see that Ciara obviously looks like a woman that's missing out on the hip hop community. She probably misses certain attention she receives, and she's a beautiful woman. She probably still gets a certain sector of the attention, but she's watching these young ladies get into that bag, getting that motion going in this community, because we're at a level we've never seen. This OnlyFans level, Ciara sees what's going on. You think they forced Ciara to sing that song? Or how many of y'all agree with me that it was nothing for Ciara to raise her hands up and choose to do that song? The problem with Mary Jane Walker is the problem that a lot of our black women have in this community. It's a lot of problems that our black men have, but respecting the subject we have, I'm just women. It's echoing out there where we're lacking of responsibility and accountability. She knows better than that. She knows Ciara, as a married woman and a mother of 3, had no business participating with a song like that. While I don't want to see no young black woman do that, but it would make more sense a 21, 22-year-old woman in the game trying to make it would choose a song like that. Especially because most of the time they're not even married. They don't have the mental capacity to form maturity like that. But you would just think a Ciara who's pushing 40 years old, if not there already. I don't even know how old the woman is. But to hear Mary Jane Walker talking, it just made me realize, so much so that it doesn't even matter that these women have degrees. They think alike when it comes to this thought culture. I've had women in my life that has made excuses for some of these older, the Nicki Minaj's of the world, the Beyoncé's of the world, the influence they have, and how it negatively can affect the younger women. They'll automatically dismiss it as I'm hating, or it's not that serious. And these are women with daughters, y'all, with daughters. So this was a fascinating one. I'm gonna let it finish, and hopefully y'all still in tune, man.
That's it.
But the real thing is how much of that do we really know for sure? You have artists that come out here and they scream and cry for help for people to go back and be like, well, she didn't have to do that. You don't always know that. That's what I'm saying. Contrast can be a tricky thing. The music industry in terms can be a tricky thing. I'm not saying none of it is right. I agree.
No, we're not saying that it's not a tricky thing.
Today, this whole conversation taught me that I thought of independent as I could go and do my own thing. But in reality, it's like you taught me, okay, I'm thinking of the word independent in the wrong way. However, in this case, I'm saying it's not always like you don't know that. But like until you're all the way in deep and understand that that's not always the case. It's not always, well, she didn't have to say no because Russell is a multi-millionaire.
He could have bought that contract out. Let's stop acting like she make a whole bunch of goddamn money.
Even with her female counterparts, the angry man's rebuttals, this lady Mary Jane Walker still is hell-bent on shifting the goalposts, changing the narrative away from accountability. They always need loopholes, y'all, to hold on to being vulnerable as victims. See, that's the thing. Even when they're trying to be loud and proud about being independent and strong, they can't even translate that independence and that strength to accountability. It's still this vulnerable damsel in distress that had no choice because she was a slave to the industry. I mean, I don't know. This was a frustrating one. I just hope y'all like it. And shout out to Lady Di DTM. She kept that woman's foot to the fire. Like, she let her know, you ain't gonna backtrack on this responsibility, love. Ciara's a grown woman. She want to be relevant, as the angry man said. She wants to remain relevant, as a lot of these older women are. Coaching and teaching and bringing up and raising and rearing up these young women, all wrong. You can preach to me about all the fathers that ain't there that you want, but you just would think maybe they'll have more of a chance if these ladies just hold themselves accountable. Now, that lady up there on the top left next to Lapeef, the real Precious, if you seen her face, y'all, I know a lot of y'all recognize that face. She was butthurt about people, I wouldn't even say going in on Ciara, just holding her accountable for the detriment that she allows herself to be a part of. And I already seen that lady's face, man. I know that expression a mile away. That's why she didn't chime in with any opinions. And now that woman, she represents the bulk of our community. At least Mary Janie Walker had the courage of speaking on her own ignorance, although it was pure ignorance. I mean, that woman ain't gonna help nobody succeed out here in the traditional sense and fixing our community. But all I'm saying, y'all, I hope you just see a little taste of how really divided we are in this community, of how we will influence our children and how we will promote traditional family, the nuclear family, that is. It's your boy Gravitating Away. I really hope you like this video. It's not mine. I don't get monetized for it. I just like sharing a good message and sharing a visual into what's going on out here. All right, y'all, like, subscribe, comment. Most importantly, keep coming back.
If it's love, I want everything. Touch my soul, touch my heart, don't judge my mental. They told me that life is simple, been real since Papa Pimple. I started out in the Renault Sonata, the presidential. Speak once